All right, we are recording.
What? Crazy.
I know, right? It's amazing.
So it's
You-
it's only the day after. This is the day after. It was 2 days after it was released.
But one day after I actually saw it, I think you saw the night of.
I did. I did, and I watched it again since then.
Oh, lucky you.
So I can clearly say I saw that.
I saw that too.
And I'm glad that we're recording so soon after this one being dropped because holy fuck.
Holy fuck about Loki season 2, episode 4. That well,
Jaw dropping. Jaw dropping.
talk about an episode before Halloween. Good timing.
Seriously, you're right.
I was kind of want to see what that Brad guy's movie was. It Zaniac. I kind of thought that'd be more Halloween. That would have been a
Wouldn't it be
nice.
great if we had like a little screening? I mean, it might be too late for that now, but
I mean, that would be great as like a little Disney Plus extra. It's like, oh, and here's a little extra thing for you Loki fans. But no. But we
right?
got this. It's like actual body horror stuff. What?
Seriously. Oh my gosh. All right. So, and by the way, in this episode, they did confirm that General Vox is in custody.
Yes,
Yes.
not for long, but yeah,
Yeah. Um,
I thought they grabbed
so
him.
it started out pretty quiet under the opening sequence, right? Like with the Marvel Studios Loki Colors logo. I can't remember why it was so quiet. It was
Uh,
very quick. Like they didn't go through the whole long animated thing like they normally do.
I actually don't remember that part. Oh,
Canceled. Just kidding. Um,
no, fan part taken away.
um, so we see Victor Timely at the TVA.
Well, actually, we start off at the end of time with Renslayer and Miss Minutes.
That's true. The secret that Miss Minutes said she had about Renslayer
That would
is
make her
revealed,
angry.
which ties together nicely with the partial recording that Loki heard when he was time slipping.
Right.
So she was part of winning the Time Wars and creating that space at the end of time, that citadel,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he screwed her over.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I say, yeah, he did because he went back on, I guess, everything he said and also wiped everybody's memories.
Yeah, except Miss Minutes, of course.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why he doesn't do partners. I know we discussed in the last episode, you have a theory that he avoids partners because he doesn't want Miss Minutes to somehow get her own body and come after him because she does know all of his dirty laundry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's
this
like
could also be part of it.
that's sort of a separate thing I was having about him with Miss Minutes. Like maybe there was a point in time where it has happened before or something.
Yeah,
Because
maybe.
as we're seeing here, time is pretty much a loop. Because he who remains will come back eventually. It's just we got to go through all these variants to get back to him.
Right.
But
That's right.
I don't know. I think about the whole no partners thing would probably lead to what they were talking about in the Ant-Man movie, the third one, because you have the Council of Kangs, where all the Kangs partnered up to go against the other Kangs, and so he who remains just he doesn't want to be partners because he doesn't. I think that he doesn't want something like that to happen again. He wants to be on top to watch over everything.
I mean, it's easier if you don't have to run your ideas through somebody else or a committee, right? You
Hmm.
have ultimate control. You're it's quicker for you to make a decision and change course. Um, and nobody can stab you in the back, which is what he did to
Renslayer,
Renslayer. Yeah.
and essentially everybody at the TVA who
Yeah.
was there willingly to stop the other Kangs, as we remember that little clip at the end of season 1 when Loki turns out he went far back in time, in the TVA's timeline, I should say, when everybody was still following He Who Remains during the war.
I mean, they chose to be there? Question mark. They were stolen from the timeline, so gray area. Once there, memories wiped. Yes, memories
Well,
wiped of their timeline life.
well, I'm going to say this: as far as we know, their memories got wiped after the war. So now, follow me here. Maybe they were actually rescued from their timelines
Possibly. I
because
mean,
there was
worth considering.
because there was a war on. Timelines were
Mm.
getting destroyed left and right, or taken over altogether. So maybe he just picked out people here and there from timelines that were about to fall.
Or
I mean,
maybe it was systematic based on timelines where He Who Remains didn't have a variant yet, or had a variant that wasn't powerful, one that wouldn't notice their absence.
yeah, I
Mm.
mean, yeah. So
Yeah, but he
I'm
did get together.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying that I'm trying to give different views of points on things, as in, yeah,
Hmm.
because maybe he didn't necessarily
Yeah,
kidnap everybody. Maybe those are people that were rescued, because we've seen how many infinite branches could break off.
maybe they're all from the same timeline.
Yeah, it's possible.
Maybe
I,
they knew each other.
yeah, I don't think so, but I say it's possible. I like the idea that he picks them from here and there because there's just so many to pick from.
True. And as I look forward to, Victor Timely and OB instantly like fangirling over each other.
I know, that was great. And I thought, oh crap, this is where things go bad.
Well, and as soon as somebody says, "Hey, can I sign your TVA guide?" and somebody else goes, "Hey, can we take care of the important stuff first?" You're like, "Okay,
Mhm.
that's never going to get signed. Something's going to happen."
No.
That's foreshadowing right there.
Mm-mm. Good eye on you. Good eye on you.
I love Loki's. It's like, so you wrote down what he told you, which is what you learned from what he wrote down. Like, he was like, "Oh, the circle. I'm overwhelmed with the TVA guidebook and their sort of conversation, if you will, through time or outside of time." That
Now,
was cool.
let us remember that
Mm.
what happens to the Victor Timely in this episode, he's from a branch variant. Original kid Victor Timely. There's still one on the sacred timeline who's still there.
I mean, is it still the sacred timeline? I guess so. I
Yeah,
mean, General Vox saw to that.
yeah.
I totally.
As long as they follow the one timeline and see how everything else branches out, and that's the sacred one. And then you gotta say everything else is branching.
And we find out what Victor Timely's life's work is, and that is the item which can increase the loom's capacity.
Yeah, the thing you were wondering about last time.
Exactly. I love it when my questions are answered.
Yeah, yeah. Don't expect much of that, especially with time travel stuff.
Hmm. It looks like Sylvie's coming around a bit.
Yeah, yeah, it does. But I mean, I understand that she doesn't care about the variants of He Who Remains or the TVA, but she likes the people that she's with.
Love the one you're with. Love the one you're with. We do not have permission for this song.
Mm,
Um,
mm, 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 mm. Need an AI to
so
rewrite need an AI to rewrite that song.
how about Renslayer's cruelty in the interrogation room?
So scary.
Gross.
Yes. What's in the box? Just meat now.
Hmm. Wow.
I mean, Loki was teasing that back in what was it, episode 2, but
Yeah.
this.
I mean, clearly it's been used before. X5 knew what it was capable of.
I mean, yeah, because almost happened to him.
But I think he knew even before that.
No.
It came through in the interrogation. Oh, you don't even know how to use that. And then, oh, okay. Slow down there.
Mhm.
And X5, I mean, he already had issues. He was already an asshole, right? He was already self-centered. But now the guilt and the commitment that he made, paired with that guilt and the awful things that happened to those people, including General Vox, who he clearly had a connection with. I mean, he's messed up in the head forever now.
Yep. Yeah, those poor people. But I mean, they took a stand.
They did. They did. So I did not see the end coming at all. I definitely did not.
Yeah, yeah. That was a shocker.
Yeah.
But I did like how they were able to disable Miss Minutes by rebooting the system and turning off the magic dampeners.
That would turn off the magic dampeners too, keeping people from performing magic in the TVA. Turn it off. Yes, that. Have some. Yeah. I
Now,
couldn't even see Loki hiding in the shadows there when he and Sylvie were trying to trick X5, right? Enchant
yeah.
him.
Well, I
He's
mean,
like,
that's
want
his
to go
magic.
for another round? Like, but I rewatched it and I'm like, oh, there he is. You can just barely see him in the
Mm.
shadows. And then
Then what? Okay, recording again.
so the first time I watched it, I couldn't see Loki in the shadows when Sylvie and Loki were trying to trick X5.
Hmm.
But upon the second watch, I could see him just barely in the shadows, like, want to go another round? And then Sylvie comes up behind him and enchants him, and he's all loosey goosey going
Yeah.
into the meeting room, like, hey, Renslayer, come here, just sit with me for a second, come here. And then owns her again. Um, have you seen 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Yeah.
So you know what happens to the HAL 9000 computer.
Yep.
And Miss Minutes being reduced to her original, most basic function absolutely reminded me of what happened to Hal as Dave removed more and more of his capability, and he just went back to singing the song Daisy
Yeah.
and then slowed down to a stop. Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel sorry for her, but also not.
She's just doing her programming and also her feelings.
Yeah, she has feelings. Did you think that Loki was going to go out there and plug that thing in? I didn't think that would be a good idea. Like when he's like, I'll go.
Well, I know
And
Sylvie wouldn't go. Don't think OB would have gone. Maybe Morbius. Maybe him.
why do you think Sylvie wouldn't have gone? I thought she would have. Because she's like Miss Survived Disaster.
I don't know. I just don't see her doing that. Which I'm kind of questioning if they could have just teleported themselves away, unless that got disabled too.
Yeah, maybe outside the blast doors that's not possible. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
yeah,
you first.
I want to come back to something that you stated in a previous podcast
Hmm.
about the Infinity Stones.
Yes,
With magic dampeners turned off, wouldn't that mean that they will be functional inside the TVA?
I would think so.
So I know like a whole cart full of them got sent to the end of time. Oh well, goodbye. But supposedly some people use them as paperweights, so maybe they can find a time stone.
Yeah, Casey had some in his desk.
Oh, that was his cart, the one that got zapped away.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that then. I know he had some,
Yeah, yeah,
and I think he had the Tesseract too, didn't
yeah. That's how Loki got it back and saw it was pointless because magic never doesn't work there. We know why
he? No.
now, and that's turned off.
So, in your memory, he Casey had the Infinity Stones in a cart that got quote unquote zapped away. By whom and to where?
Well, by B-15 to the end of time because she was trying
Okay,
to zap Loki.
so that's where they are.
Yeah,
Unless they got eaten by the monster. He doesn't
yeah,
eat everything.
yeah, yeah. Eliath, yeah.
Yeah. Um, should we talk about who then took Loki's place and what happened?
Victor Timely met a timely end.
Time to be brave, he said. Time to be brave. He used it to pump himself up and go forward. And wow, what an end he met. I stopped and watched it slowly. Just because I wanted to see the effect, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's quite similar to the Mr. Fantastic from the Doctor Strange movie.
Hmm. I felt like I'd seen that effect before. That must
Th
be where I saw it.
this one was more gruesome, but yeah, it looks very similar, being turned into spaghetti like that.
And clearly he knew it was happening because he reacted
Yeah,
as he was. Yeah, it was very sad. And really, we're all afraid of what he might do, right? Because we know what He Who Remains is capable of. But he was used by everyone in every direction. Victor.
yeah, because he was a variant. So, so who knows what he could have done. Also, the whole that he's from the was it 19th century instead of the 31st. It's like I still have questions about that. I got a theory, but I have questions.
I'm just saying, I feel like they used him up until he was gone, you know?
Yeah,
And that's tragic. And then, as if that weren't enough, the loom exploded. And
kablooey.
presumably, everyone was destroyed or sent to the end of time. Right? So
I
it's time for a big, end game situation at the end of time.
I don't know. I don't know what was the point of the loom exploding besides taking out TVA. I gotta go
I
back to
mean,
rewatch the first episode again about that.
there are theories, right? It could have destroyed all of time that was woven into a timeline, right? That was the purpose of the loom
Hmm.
is to take raw time and weave it into timelines. But if the loom is gone, then it's potentially it could be everything is destroyed. It's just raw time floating around. No people, no timelines, no TVA. But it could also mean only the end of time remains and raw time floating around everywhere.
Hmm.
So then what do they do to each other or to time itself at the end of time? I mean, how are they? My mind just goes, where do we go from here? There's got to be something. There are 2 more episodes because we're meta and outside that situation. I think they're all at the end of time.
There's 2 more episodes and also a bunch more movies coming, and possibly more shows connected to this somehow.
When you say more movies coming, you mean Marvel movies, but not specifically Loki focused?
Yes, Yeah, it's kind of like
Okay.
that third Ant-Man movie where Kang was the villain.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've got that Avengers movie that's coming that's called Kang Dynasty. So there's still going to be Kangs out there somewhere, unless they change their movies, especially with the things going on with Jonathan Majors.
Yeah. Yep. That is going to go to court.
Which kind of makes me wonder if they sort of reshot this ending to kill off Victor Timely, so that way they can stop having him in the show, and they just reshot
I also wondered the same
and
thing.
they just
Yes.
reshot the last two episodes. Okay, it's time to spend a few more millions of dollars.
Yeah. They could recast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's the theory that Renslayer will take the place as the Kang villain that will be facing off in the future. Which I'm
All
all
right.
for that too.
Yeah, I am too. I'd be down for that.
Now, going back to a theory I'm trying to work on here is about the
Mm-hmm.
whole Victor Timely kid on the sacred timeline in the 19th century, and
Yes.
then you got adult Victor Timely on the branch timeline because he got the book.
Mm-hmm.
But He Who Remains, who clearly Victor Timely is supposed to be like a He Who Remains, but He Who Remains is from the 31st century. So, in the comic books, there's this character called Iron Lad. He occasionally leads the Young Avengers, which is like the next generation of Avengers.
Oh.
But turns out that Iron Lad is in fact a kid version of Kang before he became evil, who went back in time to do as much good as he can to prove that he won't become Kang, but he will eventually become Kang and become evil.
Are
So
you saying there's no free will?
I'm no, not for him.
Destined.
But I'm just thinking that the kid version of Victor Timely would somehow be sent to the 31st century, and then he could probably become an Iron Lad in a future movie or show, but it'll still
Mm.
eventually become the He Who Remains that we've seen in season one.
But we come back to that point, which is there free will or not?
I guess it depends on which timeline you're on.
So you think it just varies?
Yeah.
Can it vary within a timeline, like you said, not for him? Like some people have free will, some don't?
I think that's probably where the whole branch timelines and alternate variants come along.
That's because there's free will.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like an episode of Rick and Morty because you create two alternate possibilities because you're not too sure. So alternate realities created where you do turn left or you do turn right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I sort of see where this whole branch timeline is coming. It's sort of like how Miss Minutes explained in the first episode. What if you were just like 10 minutes late? Then boom, that's a totally new timeline there.
Yeah, true.
So, the free will is what creates the branch timelines from what I see. And He Remains
Yeah.
tries to eliminate that so that way the timeline that he exists in stays alive without creating the other timelines that will create the other Kangs that will want to come and destroy him
Right, yeah.
and his
The ultimate
timeline.
form of control.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Anyway, that's just things I'm saying. I'm just saying things. We got about a week till the next episode. Everything could be
Right?
completely wrong, rewritten. There could be another strike. I don't know.
Let's hope not another strike.
We got various TV shows supposedly coming, various movies supposedly coming. So who knows what's going to happen? We've seen things get mixed up a bunch of times.
Well, I am super interested to see what is next.
Yeah.
When I can say I saw that.
You know what? I saw that too.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you, sis. Can't wait for the next one, and thank you for everybody who's been listening. Loki season 2, episode 5 coming soon, and we'll be talking about that. Goodbye.
Bye.